Hello, I'm Justin Han, and first I'd like to thank Dylan McAfee for posting your response video to my affirmative and allowing me the chance to respond. In his response video, he stated two things that would prevent my plan from going into action. I will restate my plan right now. My plan is to provide any tax breaks, such as removing the sales tax on any material necessary for home and local gardens, like drip irrigation systems, plants, vegetables, fruits, anything like that, and also to reduce income tax on gardens like they do in businesses. You could measure the land of these gardens and give a tax break upon that. Um, the first inherency that he stated was the consequences of providing a tax break and these different things for these home and local gardens. Any governmental financial assistance that they provide to any plan will usually have to involve an indirect or a direct source of money. Um, I believe that indirect sources are much more relieving on the government and not as taxing on them. Direct involvement involves like giving directly money to different organizations or institutions for this assistance, or you could go indirectly, such as just removing sales tax or giving tax breaks, which I believe is easier and better because you're no longer putting yourself more in debt. Um, that's why I believe that providing tax breaks and removing sales tax is a more beneficial way than direct assistance. It makes it easier on the government and it provides incentives for people to make these gardens and promote these and sustain these. Also, um, regarding direct tax, if you wanted to do that, instead of creating whole new sources of money, you could actually just take money that they are already providing to industrial agriculture and maybe use some of that tax money towards this program. Next, I'll address the climate and how that affects home and local gardens. Any form of agriculture, whether it's industrial or organic, you're going to have problems with climate. That's the big thing about farming. It all depends on the climate. So there's no way to actually avoid climate effects and how it affects it, but I do believe that it's more manageable on a smaller scale, such as a home and local garden. Um, when such things like climate effects, they require more attention to these plants to help them grow and maintain themselves. And when you're a farmer, it's hard to manage all those crops on such a large scale. So if you're doing it on a home and local garden, it's much more easier to manage, and these plants and everything will have a better chance at being successful and actually growing because you can put more attention and effort into specifics instead of having to watch a whole crop and tend to a whole crop. You could actually watch it on a lower level and it makes it easier. Not only that, um, a lot of climate effects come from CO2 emissions and the use of gas as a source of energy, and industrial agriculture uses that on a massive scale. So that only increases problems with the climate because all these gas emissions affect the climate. And not only that, but home and local gardens, when you grow them, these actually clean the air and it makes the air healthier to breathe, the food's healthier, everything like that. So after going over those, I'd like to point out an example of kind of how this plan was used in the past and how successful it was. During World War II, I believe everyone knows about the idea behind victory gardens, gardens to be planted to help the war effort. These were planted by everyday citizens, and citizens were more than willing to do it because it was helping the United States. Um, some facts about that was that during their peak in World War II, there was more than 20 million victory gardens planted across the United States, and those victory gardens produced more than 40% of all vegetables grown in the United States. That's a ton of food, and that's one of the reasons why we were able to provide enough food and actually sustain ourselves during such a huge war. Not only that, people were able to plant these anywhere. They use different things like window boxes if you didn't have a yard. If you were in a big apartment building, the community came together and created gardens on like rooftops of buildings and stuff, and it was able to benefit that way. Not only that, it reduced the transportation needed for food and it benefited them. Uh, my plan is kind of very closely related to this. The only difference is the reasons for planning these. Um, Back then, they would do it to support a war effort. Now they would be doing it to benefit themselves and save money or different things such as that and make food healthier. So the only difference is that we would provide different incentives for this. But if these home and local gardens started becoming as successful as like victory gardens, I mean the evidence is there and it's shown that it could be very successful and very helpful to the United States. Not only by providing enough food, but also reducing the cost for transportation and all that. I just believe my plan is the best way to support sustainable and organic agriculture. Thank you.